So, double underpass, great. Your opponent has two defenses, more than two obviously. Two obvious defenses that you'll see at a beginner level. Let me borrow you real quick. The first one is as I initially go for the double under, my opponent is going to hip bridge and essentially shoulder walk back, right? We've kind of dealt with that. There's a reason I made you guys lap your opponents, and it's to defeat that. So let's go over what it's going to look like. Boom. I got my opponent's guard open. As I run my opponent forward, he starts shoulder walking back here. And now all of a sudden, yeah, it gets heavy. And now I got to walk forward again. But as I walk forward, he's walking backwards. And we just end up going out of bounds. Okay? The lap kind of takes care of that. So if I broke open my opponent's guard in his very fancy brand new Origin gi. I dive double under. I still make the run. As I feel my opponent start to walk back, that's when I sit back and I lap my opponent here. Look at the angle of my body, guys. A lot of you guys are trying to lap your opponent here. No, sit back here. Cool? And now, look, if I just try and fold him in half again, he's going to shoulder walk back again. Yeah. So instead of doing that, I'm going to lift up off my hips and then fold my opponent. Now try to shoulder walk back. Yeah, he's going nowhere because I folded him in half. Now I reach across the collar. I sprawl. As I walk, this hand comes behind the hip here. I walk and turn, walk and turn, walk and turn, walk and turn until I pass the guard. Okay? There's another defense he's going to do. Let's deal with this one first. Okay? A shoulder walking opponent. You're going to lap your opponent sitting back. Okay? Again, I broke open my opponent's guard. I run my opponent forward, but he's doing the smart thing. He's shoulder walking back. I pull him back onto my lap. Look at the angle of my body here. Yeah, not too far back, but not forward either. Now, if he wants to shoulder walk back, he can't. So now when I go to fold him in half, I don't just fold him in half. I lift up and over and I fold him in half. Reach for the far collar, choke him at the same time. As I start to walk, my knee or my hand goes behind his tailbone. Walk and turn, walk and turn, walk and turn until I get side control here. Any questions? So if you're wondering why I added the extra step of lapping your opponent, this is why. Cool? Let's get that a shot. On three. 1, 2, 3. Go! So if your opponent shoulder walks back, you lap him and you fold him, right? There's a second common defense that your opponent is going to do. So if my opponent's body is like this and my body is like this, my goal is to get 90 degrees. If he can keep himself parallel with me, I can't pass his guard, right? So here, I broke open his guard. I go for it, boom, he shoulder walks back, right? I lap him. I'm doing everything correct, but he posts on my hip. Good. Now when I move, he moves. Yeah, and it's like a bad Benny Hill sketch. We don't get anywhere, right? So let's beat that post, okay? Let me get you on this angle again. 2 ways to beat that post. I'm gonna go over the easy way and then a fancy way. So again, from here, I dive double under, I walk, he tries to shoulder walk back, I lap him, right? Rise up off my hips, fold my opponent. Again, this hand should be deep, but just for the sake of my training partner, I have it nice and loose here, right? Again, as I do the technique, but he posts on my hip. Okay, right hand goes behind his tailbone. Now what I'm gonna do is, he's posting on my left hip right now, so I'm gonna use my left leg. Boom, as soon as I feel that post, I'm going to take my left leg, I'm going to go from the outside to the inside and block his post, or get rid of his post as I pass at the same time. Okay, let's go look at that again. I do the double under, I run forward, he shoulder walks back, I lap him, rise up off my hips, fold him in half, continue on with the double under, but he posts. He's posting on my left hip, I'm going to take my left knee, step it out, and shed his post as I pass. Here. That's the simple way to do it. That's the way I like to do it. If you're a little bit more fancy than me, we're going to turn this into an arm bar. Okay? Same thing. Double under, run him forward. Yep. Get into the double under position here. I'm walking, he posts. No problem. I'm going to grab the sleeve of his gi. As I step my left leg forward, I stand up, over, and sit back for the arm bar. Here. One more time. I'll be honest with you, my right leg was not in a good position on that one. I'll be honest with you. I've seen this performed in competition. I myself have never done it. I might have gotten it once or twice in sparring. Usually not. Okay? Again, here, dive double under, walk my opponent forward. Again, same thing. Lap, rise up, fold, I walk, he posts. Cool. Same thing, my right hand is still underneath his tailbone, right? Now I'm gonna grab his gi with my left hand, step forward, and watch my hips. My hips go forward here. Okay? Now I'm nice and tall. Sit back for the arm bar here. So don't just pull with your arm. As you take your opponent's arm off you, you're literally like hipping into them here. So they have to turn the other way. Right leg stays behind them, left leg stays over, and sit back to the arm bar. Cool. Ernest, did you see it? No. All right, good. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Go.
Welcome back, guys. We're running the drill for the double under, countering our opponent's counter. Got Bob on top and Ernest on the bottom here. So this is semi-live. They're not quite going 100% resistance. Ernest does something smart. You'll see him grab Bob's pants. In the gi, if you're trying to prevent your opponent from turning the angle to get the double under, that's not a bad idea. When they're wearing the pants, you might as well grab them. So right now I'm coaching Bob to how to get through it, and I instruct him to take his opposite hand. So he's going left. So I tell him to take his right hand to strip his opponent's grip at least off one leg so he could start turning the angle again. Now Bob's goal is to use, even though his opponent's grabbing his pants, to use his left leg to get on top / outside of Ernest's right leg to strip the grip just like we did before, or because he stripped the grip on Bob's right side, he could start now going to the right. So from here, I noticed that he has a pretty good angle on Ernest, so I just keep telling him to turn on that angle, meaning going left. Because right now, if you see Ernest's right hand, pause it right there, Ernest went from gripping in front of Bob's pants to now behind. So he's essentially pulling Bob's leg, which is not going to help him as much. This is Ernest's hips here on this angle, and we see Bob is almost 90 degrees here, so he's pretty much going to pass from here. There we go. Let me rewind a little bit. So here we see Ernest's right hand is pulling instead of pushing. Bob has stripped the far hand, and now he's turning that angle. We got Ernest on top and Bob on the bottom here, still running the same drill, semi-live. Bob makes the same mistake of pulling, and Ernest gets the pass. Again, if you're trying to prevent your opponent, and it's not the only thing you should be doing, but if you're trying to prevent them from getting the double under pass, you're posting on their leg, not pulling. He goes to pull again, no good. And Ernest gets a pass easily. I think I tell him here to post instead of pull. So now he's posting. So now Ernest has to do something else other than just walking. There we go. Takes the outside knee, beats that post. So we see here, Bob's hand went from, oh, where's my clicker? Bob's hand went from in front of Ernest's body, acting as a post, to now it's kind of on the side because Ernest beat his arm and he had to re-grip the post and he didn't get it quite in the ideal position. From here, Ernest should still continue to turn, and his right hand needs to go behind Bob's tailbone. I think he's working that left knee again. I can't see it from this angle, but it looks like he's working that left knee again to get outside of Bob's arm and try and beat that post. Bob switches to an underhook, no good, and Ernest will probably turn to get the pass here. I'd like to see a little bit more pressure. There we go. Got Khaled on top here, and I believe looks like Ernest on the bottom. Khaled gets double unders. Stacks. He let the pressure off a little bit too much. Here, look at all this space in the last minute between Khaled and Ernest. A good guy is going to use that space and that momentum to turtle away from you, and now you got to go through that whole rigmarole of trying to get through the turtle. I think I tell him as much here. So again, starts with the double under, sprawls, very good sprawl. Ernest is posting on his knee. Khaled's got to move that right hand behind his Ernest's tailbone. Resets. Okay. I don't know if you could see it from here. You can probably see a little bit. Take a look at Ernest's right hand. He's actually, so this is Ernest's tailbone right here. Khaled needs to take his right arm and go underneath Ernest's tailbone here. But Ernest is actually doing a good job freezing his grip here. So please, break your opponent's grip and move it towards their tailbone. You cannot leave it on the other side of your opponent's body when you're doing the double under. It's actually going to get in the way of you being able to turn 90 degrees. I don't know why Ernest let go. Alright, he steps over the knee, his post and gets the pass. Got Ernest on top and Khaled on the bottom, running the double under drill. Like semi-live resistance here. Ernest sprawls, starts walking to his left. I believe Khaled is posting there. Yeah, Ernest, see Ernest's right hand? Gets behind the pants, and now we clearly see his left leg being able to beat Khaled's arm. That was almost a textbook example. Must have done something to his hand on that. Stacks. Right hand goes behind the pants. Goes for the armbar. Very nice. We got Bob on top and Khaled on the bottom. Bob goes for the stack. Khaled posting with his right arm on Bob's left hip. All right, Bob needs to move his right arm into position now. Beautiful. There we go. Now he's using his left knee to beat that put. I would go for, if your opponent's, yeah, exactly. I would go for an armbar from there. A little bit too far. I think I tell him as much, that the armbar was a little bit sloppy. But again, these guys are zero strike white belts. They're kind of feeling their way through it. He's walking, got to get his right arm in position. He forgot about his right arm. There we go. His right arm, using his left knee to beat that post. Yep, there we go. Beautiful. Yeah, that knee is one way to either strip your opponent's post or really get around it and continue on making that 90-degree angle, because they could still be posting on your hip, but if you get your knee over it and everything else is in position, they can't really stop your pass. At least with the post. They could do other things with it, obviously. And Bob on the bottom. Good sprawl by Khaled. Bob posts. Yeah, Khaled's got to stop putting his hand on the ground. Yep, gets his right arm in position. Bob's really posting with that left hand. Khaled's got to come outside of it. Okay, he lets go of the collar grip to address the post. Not bad, but now he's got to get the collar grip back, and now he's parallel again. Again, you want to be perpendicular to your opponent. Yeah, I don't recommend letting go of that collar grip because that's really going to help you pull 90 degrees. There we go. Uses his knee to beat that post. If at all possible, try not to once you establish that cross collar grip, try not to let that go. That's really going to help you get 90 degrees. His thumb should be inside. Khaled's thumb should be inside on the cross collar grip. Not bad. It was a little bit sloppy. Thumb's got to be on the inside, and he should have tried to get that knee outside to inside. So now this is 100% live resistance. I believe I called this in the middle of a sparring round. We got Ernest on top and Bob on the bottom. Ernest needs to sprawl out a little bit more. Look how close his feet are to Bob. So that tells me he's not really loading his weight onto Bob. Okay, Bob he beats that post from the inside. Very good, and gets the pass. Straight in the mount. Let's look at that again. Gets a cross collar grip. Starts turning the angle. Beats the post. And gets the pass. Good job. And this is from a sparring round. Ernest on top and Khaled on the bottom. So now they're going 100% resistance. Khaled is blocking Ernest's left hand. That's interesting. So Ernest turns to the right and gets the pass. Oh, but yeah, exactly. Let his opponent turtle. Ooh. Let's look at that again. So the pass starts out well, laps his opponent. Starts to go to the left. Notice that the left is blocked. Turns to the right. But watch him relieve pressure. Boom. All right, stop right there. Look at all that space. Look at all that space between himself and his opponent. Good guys, even basic wrestlers, will turtle. And that's exactly what we see Khaled do. Look at all that space. That allows Khaled to turn. And he's in a perfect double leg position. I forget who it was. It might have been Eduardo Teles that basically won a world championship off of that. I believe his opponent was trying to stack him into the double under, made him go to turtle and got a double leg and basically won by 2 points based off that mistake his opponent made. So please, not that I'm saying your opponent getting to turtle will always result in you getting taken down, but why give him the chance? We got another sparring round. It's going to start him in that position, but resistance is 100% live. Ernest on top, Khaled on the bottom. Ernest has to sprawl more. His feet should be a little bit further back and sprawl more. Looks like he's going right. A little bit too much space between him and his opponent. Oh, decides to go back left. Okay. He's no longer in a double under position. Khaled essentially has his legs crossed in front of Ernest. So Ernest is no longer underneath his legs. He's got to switch to something else. Not a bad idea. Again, I don't like that he let him turtle so much. Let's look at all that space that he gives him. So he goes for like a throw by basically. But as he does it, look at all that space between him and his opponent. If you're going to give your opponent that much space in this specific scenario, I would encourage him to go knee on belly. So it discourages your opponent from turtling. Again, it won't necessarily stop him completely. But in this case, yeah, knee on belly would probably have been a better option. Not a bad attempt on the guillotine, but I think it was more out of desperation than anything else. I don't think that was his intention. Middle of a sparring round, 100% resistance here with Bob on top and Ernest on the bottom. Bob, yeah, I was about to say he's got to get off his knee. That's very good. He's turning, beats that. Oh, too far. He got too far through it. Let's look at that again. So, starts out pretty good. Gets a cross collar grip. Starts walking, manages to beat that post. However, okay, I see a problem now. Ernest was able to hold on to Bob's right arm here. So when Bob started giving that pressure, he went too far forward, and Ernest managed to roll him. Could this arm being in the correct position have prevented it? Probably, because you could control your opponent's hips a little bit more. I'm surprised that he got to a right angle. Like, this is his spine right now. This is Ernest's spine right now. I'm surprised he got to that angle with this arm in the position that it's in. But we see it cost him. Essentially, Ernest kind of comes out the back door.